Welcome to this episode of the Raising Killin podcast. My name is Marsh Naidu and I blog at raisingkillin.org, where we curate resources for parents raising children with developmental delay and disabilities. As always, remember the content on this podcast is purely informational, and if you seek advice for your specific situation, to contact a trained professional. Today's episode is brought to you by Move Up Physical Therapy, a private practice in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, owned and operated by Rebecca Renfro. Rebecca, thank you so much for believing in the work we do and your sponsorship. In today's episode, we are joined by Rachel Jenkins of the All Access Inclusion Network, as well as Colin Peterson of Nashville Children's Theatre. We have a little over a month left for the summer vacations, so today's episode brings you another idea of what's possible and how to get your kids out and about. So grab that cup of coffee, put your feet up, and get ready for some awesome conversation. Today we are joined by Rachel Jenkins as well as Colin Peterson. Guys, Rachel actually is an educational consultant and she's part of TRIAD, which is an acronym for the Treatment and Research Institute for Autism Spectrum Disorders. Now, this is part of the program that's part of the Vanderbilt Kennedy Center. As part of that work, Rachel is also a member of the All Access Inclusion Network. Now, Colin Peterson, guys, is the educational director at Nashville Children's Theatre. So welcome to the Raising Killin podcast.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Absolutely.
Awesome, guys. Now, Rachel, if you don't care, I would like to start with you. First of all, what is TRIAD? Can you give us a little bit of a background information on that, and then kind of segue into the All Access Inclusion Network, please?
Yes, absolutely. So like you said, TRIAD is part of the Vanderbilt Kennedy Center and Vanderbilt Medical Center. We are based in Nashville, but we provide services across the state. And we do research, but we also provide clinical services such as treatment and assessment. We support educators and providers, and we have a lot of educational training and support services for educators, for caregivers, clinicians, and other professionals. We have like a really robust library of online modules, and we have just a lot of different projects all focused on improving outcomes for children with autism. And a really important part of our mission is our community engagement work, and that's where the All Access Inclusion Network comes in. So I've only been with TRIAD for a year and a half, but I believe the All Access Inclusion Network has been around since 2013. Is that right, Colin?
Yes. It's been around since 2013. And before that, it was, just TRIAD and community partnership with a couple different organizations, of which Nashville Children's Theatre was one of those organizations.
Yes. Yeah. The Children's Theatre has been one of our founding members since 2013. We lead as TRIAD leads the All Access Inclusion Network, but we all really work collaboratively. So we organize the meetings and we partner individually with organizations to support them, but it's really a network with all of us. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like a TRIAD centric network. We want to be very collaborative. And the network includes arts organizations like the Children's Theatre, like Nashville Ballet, Nashville Opera, museums like the Country Music Hall of Fame is another partner, athletic organizations, other community resources like the library. Most of the organizations are in Middle Tennessee, but we actually do have a couple in other states and even a few in other parts of Tennessee. And we welcome organizations from definitely from other parts of Tennessee. And like I said, even from other states. And we say we promote true inclusion, which we mean by that we work on creating meaningful experiences and opportunities to belong through participation in programs and representation within the organization. So really thinking beyond just providing access to something, like what does it mean to actually be welcoming and to help individuals with autism, individuals from the neurodivergent community really feel welcome and like they belong there. We do a lot of things as a network. And I guess just emphasizing what I said before, we really work collaboratively, both as a group and individually throughout the year to improve access and inclusion. So that could include staff and volunteer trainings, providing feedback, attending events. The support is very individualized to each organization. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I guess I should add that we have an advisory committee that includes autistic self-advocates, and they help inform the directions of our network. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've left out beyond that. We do lean towards focusing on inclusion for people in the autism and neurodivergent community, but I would say, and Colin, you can add on to this if you want, but our conversations and our work really extend beyond those groups to the larger disability community. We kind of think about inclusion in a broader sense. But with TRIAD, our expertise obviously lies more in the autism realm. So that's sort of a specific focus of our work. So yeah, that is a brief overview of TRIAD and the All Access Inclusion Network.
Colin, how long have you all been part of the network, and what is the relationship you all have with the All Access Network?
Yeah, so NCT, like Rachel said, we were a part of the All Access Inclusion Network before it was even named the All Access Inclusion Network. So yeah, NCT, the Nashville Children's Theater, was one of the founding members of that organization. And I've been with the Children's Theater since 2010. So we started working specifically with TRIAD in 2009 and in 2010. And then we started our sensory-friendly performances, as they were called at the time, so that there was one show for every performance of a show. Say, for instance, we're doing Llama Llama Red Pajama right now. And one of those shows would be designated sensory-friendly for folks with autism or any neurodivergent individuals to come in. We have a sensory interpreter where folks go through the script and go through the show, and then we mark moments where we feel that might be startling or particularly anxious and anxiety-inducing. And so that sensory interpreter will raise their like a red light to indicate, to say, hey, this is a moment where something's coming up. Prepare yourself for that moment, so that nothing is truly startling or taking anybody off guard. We also have a lot of different supports on those sensory-friendly days to be able to help folks regulate if they need to move around, if they need to walk around the space, if they need to go into the lobby, if they need to go into the back of the theater. That's kind of where that journey started with our work with the All Access Inclusion Network, was those sensory-friendly performances. But this is an ongoing journey. Inclusion is an ongoing journey, and you're always taking steps to better support the young people that we serve. And so we've come a long way from where that originated. Now, those sensory-friendly performances actually, from the learning that I've made from being as a part of the All Access Inclusion Network, conversations with Rachel and conversations with Blair, who's also one of the team members at the All Access Inclusion Network, and Lauren's great. She leads the group, Lauren Weaver. She's fantastic. There was really the All Access Inclusion Network is connecting all these arts organizations and all these cultural organizations across Tennessee so that we can share information and what are best practices and what's happening over here and what are some ideas that are happening and how can we integrate those into our own spaces. And Blair was sharing about this a sensory space that she had worked on when she was, and she works at the All Access Inclusion Network, that she had worked on when she was in Austin, Texas. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, we have a space that's exactly like this at the back of the auditorium. What can we do to convert this? So there was originally, there was a space in the back of the auditorium called the Comfort Room, where typically folks with young children would be able to take those like babies or something of that nature into the room so that like if they were crying or so on and so forth, like that would be a space that they could still watch the show because it was behind plated glass windows. It was still in the auditorium. The sound was being pumped into the room so you could still hear what was happening. But I was like, this is a spot where we can have anybody come. Like babies are regulating here. It doesn't have to be just for babies. It could be for everybody. And so we retrofitted the entire room to help support a whole bunch of different like modalities. We have like proprioceptive, vestibular, visual regulations in there, auditory regulators, tactile, kinesthetic, like all of the things. I really leaned on Rachel and Blair to like talk about what are some ideas that could go into that room, and then like took it and ran with it. And we were able to get a generous grant from the Tennessee Arts Commission to help outfit that room with a whole bunch of different supports. We've got a trampoline in there. We've got obstacle course places in there. We've got sensory stops. We've got kinesthetic fidgets. We've got a make your own fidget station. We have a complete blackout room for anybody who's like having too much visual stimulation. There's a complete blackout room in there with a curtain. But also the cool thing about it is that it is not so many sensory rooms, so many places that where folks can go to regulate. It's excluded from the reason why people came to the event. But this is in the space. It's a part of the space. And so if anybody needs to regulate, or if anybody needs to move through, calming their body or their brain down, they're still able to participate in the reason why they came. And so what's really exciting about that is it makes now, because of those supports and because of that, that room, now all main stage shows at Nashville Children's Theater are sensory friendly. So all of them are sensory for every single show. So like Rachel was talking about, like those steps from access all the way to true inclusion, and it's a journey, and access is great. Like starting at access is awesome. And then you move, along the track and start moving your way towards full inclusion. And so we have moved now to, having all of our shows be sensory friendly. And now what was originally designated as our sensory friendly shows are now being called the neuro-inclusive shows. And next year, we're planning on doing even more for those days, because we've now stepped beyond where we were, and we're just keep on moving the needle. So, but yeah, it's all because of like the work that the All Access Inclusion Network has helped us realize and see. So those connections are important.
I think that speaks to one of the beauties of when you are set up for this kind of inclusion or universal access. And case in point is the sensory stories you guys have on your website, Colin, which actually prepares your neurotypical as well as your neurodiverse child before they come to enjoy the experience. And I think that's like fantastic. And that is actually what we kind of need from a parent standpoint, need more of, so that it's not as overwhelming. It helps towards some of the regulation. And then speaking about the space, you'll also have in the theater itself that can be used for accommodation. So kudos to your guys for you setting up those sensory stories. So what do you all have coming up? What is the next show that you guys have coming up, Colin?
The next show at Nashville Children's Theater that we have coming up is Hip Hop Cinderella. That's from April 13th through May 21st. Also one additional thing in the social stories are something that we're really proud of as well. We have social stories for everything. It's become like common vernacular for us too. Like when we're going to a new event or a new situation, my teachers and I, because we really train all of our teaching, or all of our drama school classes and camps are also inclusive as well. We do a lot of work with visual schedules, and because what you spoke to, like what's great for a small section of the community is great for everyone. And that's the thing that I think that people don't think about when they're talking about supporting folks with disabilities, like that these supports that will support everybody. And we need to expand that thinking and really be more open our minds about like what accessibility and what we can do. But the social stories, the common vernacular in the children's theater is, I don't have the social story for that. Like when we're going to a new event, could you send me the social story? Like just walk me through what this event is going to look like as we're going and doing something else. Because social stories are so important for folks to understand what it is that we are about to experience. So the neuro-inclusive performance for Hip Hop Cinderella is on. It's going to be on the.
I think it's May 13th.
They took it off the thing. Oh, there it is. Yes, thank you. May 13th. Thank you. This is thank you, Rachel. It's a neuro-inclusive. It's a neuro-inclusive. We have a new website, so sorry about that. I was finding the new space, but the neuro-inclusive performance is on May 13th. And the cool thing also about neuro-inclusive performances is that we have a Try It Again pass. So and also a discount. So anybody who comes in through the All Access Inclusion Network or Autism Tennessee sends it out in their blast. There's they have a discount code so that folks can come to the neuro-inclusive performance for a greater discount than what our typical prices are. And if folks if it doesn't work for them that day, we have a Try It Again pass on that day. So if that day is just not working out for your family, you can come to the box office, and even if like you come to the theater and it's just not the day for that young person to be able to see that experience, and that's okay. You go to the box office, you get a Try It Again pass, you don't have to pay anything, and then you can come to another performance of that show.
That's awesome.
So just like to remove the barrier of that financial barrier, that's also a really important aspect of the work that we're doing.
So this is the big question, Colin. Do you guys have a traveling neuro-inclusive program? Hey, I'm in Northwest Tennessee.
I wish. I mean, there's definitely idea. I mean, we're. I mean, to be completely honest, we're still building back. The theater community is still building back from COVID, and so it was so devastating to our industry. And so, we're trying to rebuild in a more equitable way. And part of that is including neurodivergent folks. And so, I mean, that's definitely something that I've thought about and things that I would love to do. And I would love to get out into further out into the communities. But that would be very exciting. But I wish.
Well, I will say their performances are incredible. I go to the neuro-inclusive performances, and all of them have really blown me away. They do such a great job.
Thanks.
Rachel, tell us more about the All Access Inclusion Network in terms of some other partners that you'll have in the in the program. And obviously, parents can access the information through you guys' website, right?
So, yeah, we do have a website on our TRIAD main website, but that is more for our community partners. For caregivers and parents, I would say our individual organizations all have accessibility sections of their websites. And that's where they have like their own social stories, their own sensory maps, and any kind of accommodations or inclusion supports. And so I would direct parents more to like the individual organizations' websites. So, for example, like the Country Music Hall of Fame, a museum is another partner, the Tennessee State Museum, Nashville Ballet, Nashville Opera. We have roughly, I think, around like 25 partners or organizations within the network, but it does fluctuate a little bit. But yes, we have, I can send you our website link where you could go and see all of the organizations. And then each of those individual organizations have all of their inclusion supports. But like I said, it's individualized because they're all different. Like a museum has different supports than a theater would, or the ballet or the opera. So there are some similarities. They all have things like social stories. But for example, the Country Music Hall of Fame is another partner I work with. And we just put together sensory maps for them, which is really important because it can be kind of an overwhelming visual experience for people when they're going through the museum. There's a lot of noise, a lot of people around. So we developed a map that kind of identifies some quiet spots and really is visually helpful for people who might be overwhelmed in that environment. So that was something that was really important for them. So every organization kind of has their own unique needs.
So we have our summer holidays that are not too far off. Are there any special events that come to your guys' minds for those parents that might be planning trips or day trips or vacations to Nashville?
But we definitely have, summer camps that are available and on sale if that's something that people are interested in or happen to be near for a week-long camp. That's something that Nashville Children's Theater offers. Rachel, do you know of any events that are coming up from other community partners?
Not that I know at the Country Music Hall of Fame, for example, they have camps in the summer, but I don't know specifically of any other events from other community partners at the moment.
So guys, is there anything that you would like to add as far as the work that you'll continue to do in this space, and how can folks reach you or the best contact information to get in touch with you all?
They can reach out to me via my email address. My email is is C Peterson, Peterson at nashvillect.org. So if folks are interested in or have questions about our inclusive programming, I'm always happy to answer that. Also, a lot of our stuff is really predominantly displayed now on our new website, which is just nashvillechildrenstheater.org. And they can check out what Hip Hop Cinderella has to offer, which is coming up in April and May. And then also our new season will be announced in late April. And we'll have neuro-inclusive performances for all of those shows as well.
And if they have questions about the network, they can reach out to me at Rachel. It's RACHAE.Jenkins.1@VUMC.org. It's a little bit of a complicated email address, but I could send it to you separately if you can post notes or anything like that. That makes it a little easier for people to access. They make my email very complex.
Guys, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's just awesome to see the work that's being done in this space towards promoting inclusion and just developing that understanding as well. So I would like to thank you both for your time. and hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're ever in Nashville, let me know, and then I'll give you a tour. We'll go all over the place. It'll be great. So it'd be great. Yeah, come on down to the Children's Theater. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on.
Absolutely, guys. You'll have an amazing day.
You too.
Thank you for listening along on the podcast today. We sincerely appreciate a rate, review, and a share of the information that we provide to other parents seeking this type of information. As always, remember, get to the top of your mountain. This is Marsh Naidu signing off.